Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. My name is Specialist Heckman, soon to be Sergeant Heckman. I'm with the Basic Leadership Course Class 502-20, Platoon 2. Today I will be talking to you about leader attributes. Attributes define the leader. A question I want you to reflect on before we get into anything. Two questions. What type of leader do you want to be? And what kind of leader do you not want to be? If you have ever served in the military or have had any type of employment, I'm sure you have encountered both the type of leader you want to be like and the type of leader you do not want to be like. Think about the attributes of both those people and what you liked about them, what you didn't like about them, what were their characteristics that made them the way they are in your mind. Some key questions that we will be covering today. What are attributes? What are attributes of a good leader? What attributes do you have that are strong, that you should sustain? What are some attributes that you can work on, that you need to improve upon? And most importantly, how do you do that? How do you improve upon your attributes? What are attributes? Attributes to me are the key components of someone's character and their behaviors. Attributes define who we are as people and as leaders. But rolling back, components of a person's character and their behavior. I believe a person's attributes are always in their presence. You can see what type of leader they are, what kind of attributes they exhibit about themselves. It defines who we are as people and as leaders. I believe these two things to be separate. There are certain attributes I have as a leader that I do not have as an individual, and vice versa. What attributes should a leader have? Well, according to the Army Leadership Requirements Model, attributes are defined into three things: character, presence, and intellect. And under these three categories are each 5 subcategories. I have chosen my favorite from each. For character, I have chose the Army values. For those of you that don't know, the Army values include loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. For presence, I chose resilience. I believe as a leader, resilience is the utmost attribute that you have to have. You have to exhibit this in your presence, in front of your soldiers, every time you conduct yourself in front of them. Being resilient, what does it mean? Your ability to withstand anything, go through any downfalls you could face as a leader in and outside of the military. It's your ability to spring back up into position and respond. Resiliency is key. For intellect, I chose judgment. You cannot be a good leader without sound judgment. You have to be able to decide not only are you affected by the choices you make, but your subordinates as well. What attributes define you currently? Well, for me, my personal attributes include resiliency. I'm loyal. I have very strong military and professional bearing. And I like to think that I'm very disciplined and I am consistent. I'm very punctual. These are some attributes that define me. Think about what attributes define you. What are your strong suits? But even more importantly than recognizing your strong suits and your strong attributes, you need to recognize the weak. Some of my weak attributes include empathy. It's not that I don't think that I'm not empathetic, but while in uniform, I'm less empathetic than I am when I'm outside. I guess this comes from the idea that people in the military should have less feelings than people that are not in the military. Well, as a future leader, I need to know this is not true. With my subordinates or soldiers that I am leading, I have to understand they have feelings, they have emotion, they go through trauma just like anyone else. This is the attribute I need to work on the most, and I know this. Another attribute I know I could work on is judgment. I know sometimes when I think about things or I get told things, my judgment is not always clear on the bigger picture. Sometimes I think too far in depth about one particular thing that misconstrues my decision-making process. I'm aware of these things, and I'm looking constantly to try to correct them and make them better. How do I improve my attributes? You have to sustain your strong attributes. Whatever characteristics that you embody, you need to make sure those are sharp. You need to hone these better every day, consistently. And you have to recognize what they are. And focus, your primary focus needs to be on your weaknesses. First you have to figure out what they are. Where can you improve and how can you improve them? Only you know that, and only you can do that. You have to make everything you do habitual. You have to do this every day. You can't be a wishy-washy leader. Every time you are in front of your soldiers, you give directives. Anytime you're present, you have to be consistent. Make your attributes habitual. One of my favorite quotes, the way we do anything is the way we do everything. I believe this needs to be true of all leaders in and outside of the military. Reflection, back to the questions. What kind of leader do you want to be? What kind of leader do you not want to be? I believe sometimes the type of leader you do not want to be supersedes the type of leader you want to be. Deciding how you don't want to conduct yourself can help you decide how you do want to conduct yourself. Think of some bad habits that prior leaders, bosses, employers, or even co-workers, for that matter, what were some of their habits, attributes of their characters that they had that you did not like, and you didn't want to be anything like them? Could be negativity, hostility, jealousy. These are all things that could fall under what type of leader you do not want to be. So let's go over the conclusion. Attributes of a leader vary per person. Not all leaders are the same. You can have a leader that is very authoritarian, and then you could have another leader that's more forgiving, empathetic, more servant-style leaders. Depending on, all soldiers are different. Not all soldiers should be led the same. What type of leader you are can vary on a case-to-case basis. I believe a good leader is very versatile in his leadership styles. So me personally, that's the type of leader I hope to be. Find what attributes will make you a more effective leader. What works for you as an individual leader? What attributes that you conduct most effectively lead your soldiers get the task done? Identify your strengths and focus on your weaknesses. And finally, make everything you do a habit. I cannot stress that enough. When it comes to your attributes, when you're working on your strengths, when you're working on your weaknesses, you have to embody these corrective actions every single day and make them habitual. Thank you.